So, welcome to Find Happiness Podcast. Today, we're thrilled to feature Marla Green, the founder of Educatrix Advanced Practice Seminar. After overcoming the challenges of a car accident that left her disabled and departing from her career as a nurse practitioner, Marla found new purpose through entrepreneurship and now provides essential CE in code conferences for NPs, nurse practitioners, to retain their national certification and state licensures. Join us as Marla shares her inspiring journey to happiness. Welcome, Marla.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
No, I'm more excited. I'm more excited to have you on Find Happiness Podcast. Looking at your story, looking at what we want to talk about, having a car accident and, at the end of the day, getting disabled and coming out this strong to tell this kind of story and, sharing your experience, getting off depression is something that would help everyone out there who has been through similar situations or even something less, because I don't think this can be compared to anything. Being very active and then suddenly you get disabled. My dear, you're strong. You're strong. I give it up. You're strong. Welcome, Marla. So how's your day going?
Great. It's been a great day. It's kind of gloomy here. Unfortunately, it's going to rain for the next couple of days, but other than that, it's great.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so I have a couple questions I put down today to ask you, but I'll start with the very striking one. So I'll shoot. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Shoot.
Okay. So, okay, great. So can you describe how the shift from being a nurse practitioner to becoming disabled affected your mental health and led to depression?
Yes. I'm going to back up a little bit and give your listeners a little backstory first. So,
okay.
I was driving down 75 in Atlanta, and I had just gotten my hair done. I worked as a nurse practitioner in an oncology office. And prior to being a nurse practitioner, at that point, I had worked in this office for a year, but I had been a nurse practitioner at that point for about 3 years, I believe. And then prior to that, I had been a nurse for, to me, it seems like forever. But, time, kind of, it's hard for me to judge, after the accident. But I had been a nurse for at least 12 years at that point. So anyway, I was driving down 75. It was a beautiful day. And I was moving into a new house. And so just got my hair done and going to the new house. And it was stop and go traffic on 75. There was a 18-wheeler behind me, and the driver said that he was trying to change lanes, and because the lane next to me was moving, but we were just stop and go. And he didn't realize that, we had stopped again. So in transitioning to the lanes, he hit me, and that caused a 4-car accident. So I was driving a Jetta, and he bent my frame. And then, like I said, I hit the car in front of me and the car in front of it. So for days, it was Memorial Day weekend. So at that time, I didn't go to the hospital because, I was stubborn. I'm a healthcare worker. I said I was fine. I hurt, but, it wasn't bad enough to be taken to the ambulance and go to the ER. So I ended up going to a walk-in clinic. I drove myself to a walk-in clinic. And after that, I had to wait to see an orthopedic until Tuesday. So it was Friday, and then I had to wait till Tuesday to be seen by an orthopedic. And over the course of the weekend, my pain got progressively worse. You know, I went from limping a little bit to, you know, not being able to walk. And it was really rough. And so, you know, fast forward through, you know, the months, you know, I went from having trouble walking to being on a walker to, you know, laying in bed in pain and them not being able to figure out, you know, what was wrong. You know, they were like, oh, the x-rays look fine. You know, we don't know why you're in so much pain. And I mean, it was so frustrating. In the meantime, I had a 2.5-year-old that, you know, was running around. And my mom was there with me because she lived with me to help me, like, when I took call. So, I mean, before I knew for sure that I wasn't going to be able to go back to work, I was depressed. I mean, I was a little hopeful, but I was frustrated at how long it was taking. I felt hopeless and worthless because, you know, I'm a single mom. I'm the only breadwinner in the household. And, you know, I didn't know what to do. Right. It was horrible. And then, you know, once I found out that I wouldn't be able to go back to work, then, you know, it got even worse. Then, you know, it was easier to let the pain, you know, control me instead of me control the pain. And so, you know, I mean, there were days that, you know, my mom took care of my son, or my dad at the time. My dad and my stepmom at the time were living here. And so, you know, they helped me, you know, they helped with my son. And, you know, I was just in a lot of pain. And, you know, all I could do was, you know, think about how worthless I was. You know, I went to school for all these years just to end up disabled. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I felt hopeless and frustrated. And, you know, I wanted to be out there with my son, throwing a ball, running around, you know, and I couldn't.
Wow. That's deep. Honestly, I'm so sorry you went through that. Um, I'm speechless. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. I don't know exactly what I would have done. I probably would have even maybe gone suicidal. I I'm thinking about that. I'm even trying to. My experience when I was depressed was something else. At some point I went suicidal. I know that feeling when you can't sleep, when you can't eat, when you can't do anything right. Hmm. Well, okay. Well, thanks for coming up here. Honestly, you're a strong woman. You're a strong woman. I give it up. I give it all to you. I give it all to you. Okay, let's go further. So, how did you initially deal with the feelings of hopelessness and depression?
I mean, initially I was angry, right? Um, I was, I was just mad that somebody had, you know, taken away basically my livelihood. And so I did get on antidepressants and did start going to therapy. But I mean, therapy was basically me being angry about the whole situation. It was just basically me venting and, you know, yeah, being angry. Um, It took a long time, and I'm months, because the other side of that is that you know my son's dad wasn't in our life anymore. That we had tried to make it work and it didn't work, and we had just gone through that, and I was still healing from that. So I had the anger, from that issue. And then, I thought I was getting back on my feet.
Yeah.
And then I get hit by the 18-wheeler. So, I was just like, man, I can't do anything right. Why is this not working? I had just gotten a good job. We were just moving into a house. I was starting to rebuild after, what I went through with, my son's dad. And then boom, here comes this 18-wheeler. But, everything happens for a reason. And I don't say that flippantly. I say that because, while I may never know exactly why the 18-wheeler hit me, I may never know why exactly I've been in this situation. Right now, I feel like the reason why I'm in that situation is to encourage others. Because in the last, I don't know, in the last couple of years, I have felt really compelled to tell my story, to let other people know that, that they can get through it too. And it's going to be hard, and you're going to cry, and, you're going to feel alone, but, you don't have to give up.
Yeah, that's the word. You don't have to give up. Most of the experiences we go through, I think when depression sets in, I think people should start telling themselves, oh, I'm depressed because of this situation, but I'm not going to stay in it. I'm going to get up. I'm going to fight. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get stronger. That's the word. You don't sit in there. The moment you try to sit in there, you just sit in there, and different thoughts come in. Like, nobody wants to be depressed. Like, to me, depression is like an endless speed. You just keep going down, going down, going down. But the moment you tell yourself, hey, I've gotten it up to this point, you start moving up, and you just take baby steps. You take baby steps and you start getting stronger. But I think the only person that can help you get off depression, besides all the stories, all the nice things we hear from coaches, from therapists, medications, and all that, is when you tell yourself, I've had enough. I am more than able. I am enough. I can do this. That works so much. That works so much. Oh, okay. So I'll jump to the next. So, within this process, when you were really depressed, I'm trying to bring out something here. Can you tell us about the moment when you realized you wanted to pivot to entrepreneurship as a way to overcome depression? What was that moment? Tell us about the moment. What happened that brought that to your mind?
Well, before pivoting to entrepreneurship, I had exactly what you were talking about. That moment when I decided that enough was enough. Like
Yeah.
I had a decision. Either I could lay in this bed and check out and let somebody else raise my child, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
I could get up and stop letting the pain control me and push through it and, fight. And that moment came when I was actually looking for a job, because going from making 6 figures, right, a year, to going on disability and making about $20,000 a year is a big difference.
Whoa.
I mean, it's huge. So, I knew that I needed to do something else to supplement my income, or really get off disability. But so I was looking for a job, and I stumbled across health coaching. And so when I got on the phone with this lady who was a health coach, instead of us talking about a job, that's when I realized that I needed to become healthy, and not just like my body healthy, but my mindset. And so in working on myself and getting myself healthier, and honestly, until that point, I never really thought about getting my mindset healthy, right? Because that was kind of, in my generation, or how I grew up, that was kind of new agey, right? Working on yourself, working on mindset. You kind of had to be careful because that was like Tom Cruisey, new agey stuff that, that you had to like be careful about. So I was hesitant, but it turned out to be really good for me, because it wasn't like going down a rabbit hole where I was like changing my values and my principles and my core. It was like examining why I was doing the things I was doing. Because for me, when I was depressed, I'm an overeater. So I'm depressed, I'm going to get out the ice cream, and I'm going to eat the gallon of ice cream. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I mean, that's just me. I'm going to keep eating the ice cream until it's gone. Or mostly that's my vice, is ice cream. Or I'm going to eat unhealthy just because I'm depressed. I don't feel like it. So I had to examine why I had those feelings and why I got those feelings in the first place. And I had to examine my relationship with food, and then, all those other things. And then that caused me to examine other relationships within myself. And so, those things made me realize that, I had two choices. So once I decided that I was going to get up and fight no matter what, then I was like, okay, I've got to do something. So I tried, like selling clothes, and that didn't work. I tried selling books, like the multi-level marketing stuff, and that stuff didn't work for me. Because I tried to tell myself that I was helping people, which, you are, but it's still at the core, it's sales. And I'm not a salesy person. I'm not a, here, get a book, it's going to help you. And, I'm not a salesperson. So, so then I did do the health coaching thing, which was okay. But again, at the core, it's sales, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that didn't work for me either. So then I had the opportunity to purchase a business, and the business was continuing education for nurse practitioners. So unfortunately, the sale of that business fell through, but, I just went ahead and, created my own company at that point, because it was so far along, and that's a long story, that I just went ahead and created my own company. And the reason why I like continuing education credit is because another thing that I have learned from this whole experience is that being a patient sucks. I mean, it just does. Going from provider to patient has really opened my eyes, because I just, you hear the statistics about how, women's pain is, undervalued, and that providers really don't listen. Or, you hear about how women of color, talk about, their pain, and that, they're not really listened to, but you don't really understand how true that is until you live it. And then once you live it, it's like, it's shocking. It's appalling. And, the way that I've been treated as a patient, nobody should have to be treated. And I feel like that's the norm, that people are being treated this way as the norm. So if I can teach providers that this is not the way that you should treat people, then, you know, it's a win. Even if I can change one provider's mind, it's a win, right? And then on the other side of that, you know, I really want to create a space for patients, for people, for average people to be able to navigate the healthcare system and know that they have choices. Because a lot of people just go to the doctor and they listen to what the doctor says, and the doctor says, okay, you need XYZ medication. And the medication might be $200. And the person's like, okay. And they go fill the prescription. And they don't know that there are alternatives, like maybe cheaper alternatives, or, you know, I mean, they don't know what they don't know. And so, you know, I want to create a space, I don't know, a business. I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know if it needs to be a nonprofit with a profit arm. I don't know. But, you know, to help people know that they have choices, or even like with their elderly, you know, that they have a choice as far as, you know, like what to do next with like hospice or home care, or how to navigate the healthcare system.
Yeah.
So that's something else, you know, that I'm trying to work on and trying to figure out how to do. So I'm sorry, I got real off topic with your question.
It's
But
okay.
it's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about helping people and letting them know that they have choices. So
Anyway, so you already highlighted the turning point and the moment you started feeling like you had to jump from point A to point B to entrepreneurship. That's already said. So talking about this, it's an extra for us. You know, you just put in how do you call it? Icing on the cake. Yeah, yeah, okay. So can you share your experience of starting a business um, while struggling with depression and how it impacted your journey?
you know, it has made me realize how much procrastination has affected my life. I didn't realize what
Can
a
you?
procrastinator I was. Procrastination,
Okay,
you know, that I
okay,
put things
okay.
off.
Yeah,
I didn't
I know, I know.
realize how much of a procrastinator I was really until this year. But yeah, being depressed and starting a business is hard. On one hand, starting the business has given me hope and purpose. So it's
Yeah,
helped me, you know, because you know, I'm able to be around my peers again, and you know, I'm able to affect patient outcomes again. So like I'm in my wheelhouse and I'm able to, you know, help people like I was doing before. So I
mhm,
feel like fulfilled. But on the other hand, like on the back office end, it's a little difficult because that's where the procrastination kicks in. You know, at first I thought that it was depression, but it's more like procrastination, because like I find one thing that I need to do and I'm like, okay, but this is a bigger thing that I need to do. So I need to do that. Yeah, it's difficult because I end up putting off a lot of things that I shouldn't be putting off, that I could do better. And also like seasonally, like now during the winter, it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to get motivated. It's really hard to get motivated.
oh, great. Anyway, so speaking to depression and procrastination, I think there's a way these things go hand in hand because you would want to do something and the next thing you just want to be in your bed. Like you don't want any disturbance. You want to sleep. You want to keep sleeping. Um, when you finally find that sleep that you have not slept for a long time, and then you're trying to get up to go and do something, you have to really weigh them, and it takes a lot of courage to say, "Hey, sleep needs to sit aside. Work has to go on." I understand that feeling. A lot of people battle with that. Procrastination is something that really comes with depression. It takes a strong man, it takes a strong woman and a strong will to defeat procrastination. It's the thief of time. It's the it's the father and mother of do it later, and the great grandparent of next year will come. Let me be in bed. All those things happen. Indeed, you're a strong person, honestly. Okay, so I want to still talking still around obstacles. So can you talk about any challenge or obstacle you faced? No, no, no. Let me not go to that. So how did you use your entrepreneurial journey as a form of therapy or healing for your depression?
Finding my purpose. I mean, those other things that I tried, the you know, multi-level marketing and the health coaching. I mean, they were okay, but I just wasn't passionate about it. And so once I found my passion, it doesn't feel like work. So it's not as easy, like you were saying, procrastination and depression do go hand in hand. It's not as easy to procrastinate about it, right? Because it's something that I love to do. So, since I'm passionate about it, I love to do it. But yeah, so yeah, it's much easier to do, and I find joy in it. Like I find joy in planning my next event. I find joy in talking about people, and that's funny. That's what my shirt says, find joy. But I find joy in talking to people about events. Like it doesn't feel like, I'm selling something, right? I find I love doing what I do. I feel like I'm helping people and providing a service instead of selling something, right? Like selling something. But one thing I do want to speak to is the stigma around um, therapy and taking medications as African Americans. My son, and he said that it was okay to talk about this. So my son was recently diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
And he also has, along with that, he was also diagnosed with anxiety and depression.
Wow.
And he's been in therapy for a while, but my family isn't happy about that, and really doesn't support us in that. And mostly it's because he's a male, and therapy is not really accepted in the African American community, right? We should be able to talk to each other. You're talking to a stranger. You shouldn't have to go talk to outsiders. So that's been a real struggle, for me personally. That's
Yeah.
also affected my mental health, is the lack of support from my family with my son's mental health. So, and then, my son is also on medication. And, that's not something that we've exactly shared with them either, because, we know that they're not going to be too happy about that. So hopefully they don't listen to your podcast. But yeah, it's, there's just such a, you know, there's so much taboo surrounding that. And even on earlier podcast, when I first started talking about my story, I was really hesitant to put out there that I was on medication. The first time I said it, I was, I was kind of like, yeah, I'm on medication. um, but it's not anything to be embarrassed about. If you need help, because you have a chemical imbalance, or you need to talk to somebody, because of therapy, that's not anything to be embarrassed or ashamed about. I've been in therapy several times in my life. I'm not in therapy right now because I can't afford it, but I know that I need to be in therapy. And I plan to go back in therapy soon. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. And it is hard when your family doesn't support you, but if you still need help, you still need help. And for that reason, we've kind of had to distance ourselves and kind of measure what we tell our family. But I just really want to encourage your listeners, that they have to do what's best for them. And if that means, creating some distance between themselves and their family to find some inner peace and get themselves right, then that's what they need to do. If of course, if they feel that's what's right for them. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but you have to take care of yourself first, before you can take care of anybody else. It's like the airplane, right? You get on the airplane, and what's the first thing they tell you on the airplane? If you crash,
okay,
right, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take care of yourself first. So.
Yeah. Speaking to that, you need to take care of yourself first when it comes to health. You need to come first. And a lot of people try to, even in life in general, a lot of people try to help and do things that really backfire. I'd come to you cannot pour from an empty cup, right? You need to fill your cup and then give from the overflow. What's in the cup, it's for you. What's in the overflow, it's for helping others. So feel yourself very well. Make sure you're okay. Then you can give out what you have. But if you don't put anything inside, I'm sure it will be garbage in, garbage out. So there's no need. There's no need for that drama.
That's right. And
So
also,
I'll move.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing is that grief takes different amount of time for different people. So, and that's with everything, not just, death. I mean, if you're grieving a divorce, if you're grieving a relationship, whatever you're grieving in your life, it takes different amount of time. I have a friend who got divorced about a year ago, and she's like, shouldn't I be over this by now? Well, no. I mean, everybody does things at their own pace. So don't beat yourself up if, you're not over something that you think you need to be over.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really need to sit in it, and you're not beating yourself, but I think you need to speak up. This is why we have our mouths. Open it and speak to the right people. Don't speak to people who would mock or laugh at you. In fact, so depression brings shame. There's this kind of stigma that goes around with it. But the truth is, no one really cares. No one cares. Like, come on, you're thinking about it's like an illusion, like people are looking at me or people are looking up to me and all that, and then you're going through stuff, you're dying and you want to sleep in it. You rest in peace if you continue like that. So no one really cares. You speak up and do what you've got to do. That's the best way to move. We don't really have much time, and there are some questions we still need to attend to. So I need to speed up with this question so we can address this. Okay. Um, A, B, C, D. I like the smile.
Thank you.
If you have to laugh, laugh out. Yeah, that's it. Laughter is very good. I'll digress a little bit. One of the persons I spoke to recently told me how to do the breathing technique, and he said you breathe in and you breathe out. No, you breathe in, like count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when you're breathing out, you breathe out with your mouth. So breathing out is twice as long as when you breathe in. But the funny thing he said was when you're breathing out, that you have to smile. So you're breathing out as if you're whistling. When you're breathing in, you're taking it through your nostrils. So I tried that and I was looking very funny. I was looking very funny. That's why anyway, let me go back to what we're talking. Okay. You talked about challenges and obstacles. So I'll go to entrepreneurship and promoting mental wellness. So can I speak to the role of one entrepreneurship in promoting mental wellness and combating depression for other similar situations?
I mean, I would just say, one, find something that you love, and
Okay.
two, I know that people are big on goals, right? Because I've been trying
Yeah.
to think about how I can do better, with this procrastination thing. And I know people are big on goals, but
Yeah.
sometimes goals, people who have depression and anxiety tend to be overachievers, right? We tend to be perfectionists and we tend to be
Yeah.
overachievers. So the problem with writing down goals is that we're going to write down too many goals. We're going to write down goals that aren't achievable. So I've been thinking, and I'm going to try this for myself, is
Okay.
to just write down goals for the week. And if I just accomplish one goal a day, it doesn't matter if I finish the goals for the week. If I just accomplish one goal for the day, doesn't matter how big or small, then I'm going to have to be happy with that. And the other thing that works for me, that has taken a lot of stress off of me being an entrepreneur, with mental, and with depression, is time blocking. Time blocking really helps for me. Like saying, okay, I'm going to work for an hour and then I'm going to spend time with my son for, this amount of time, and trying to, sticking to those time blocks. Because when I start to blur those times, then I start getting stressed. And then, the other thing is, listening to my body, because, it's not going to be the end of the world if you miss you don't meet whatever goal it is that day. It's just not going to be the end of the world. You're your own boss. So, unless it's some deadline about something you need to pay, it's just not the end of the world. So just, keep that in mind and keep your expectations realistic.
Okay. So if I caught anything from what you said, I think one major thing is taking baby steps and doing what you can part time. Doing what you can part time. You don't need to kill yourself. You don't need to beat yourself too hard. Take baby steps to achieving things, and I mean, little drops of water will form an ocean, and I think that drives it. Okay, now speaking to strategies or techniques, so have you found any specific strategies or techniques helpful in managing your depression while running your business? Like any specific strategy you use?
Making time other than time blocking is making time for myself, which kind of rolls into time blocking. But yeah, I have to have me time where, I just do whatever I want. And that doesn't have to be spending money, like it doesn't have to be a massage or doesn't have to be go get my nails done. For me, it's watching mindless TV. I I like getting lost in other people's lives. And I know that it's not real, but getting lost in other people's lives on television, just I don't know, it works for me. It makes me relaxed and helps me to, refocus, and I can, realize that my life isn't so bad and, continue on. Or, even like glancing through the news lines. I can't read the news. I can't watch the news. But if I glance through the headlines, I can realize that my life isn't so bad. And that helps me too, mentally, just putting things in perspective. Putting things in perspective.
Well, okay. So speaking to strategies, techniques, that's fine. But now we need to get to your work and life balance. So how do you maintain a work-life balance while managing your depression and running a business? Because you just said that what you do to like the strategies and techniques is having time for yourself and all you said. So, but I want you to go deeper to how you maintain a work-life balance while managing your depression and running a business.
I mean, it's really hard. I mean, sometimes I'm going to be honest. Sometimes the depression wins. Sometimes it does.
Okay.
Sometimes, on a good day, it doesn't. I'm feeling good and everything's beautiful. But, like during the winter, on dreary days when it rains all day, those are the days that I really, really struggle. And I have to talk to myself and I have to say, hey, you have things to do. There are things that you have to do today. And I don't care if you just complete one thing, but you have to get up out of bed and then you can watch a show. Yeah. And so then, I'll get up, and usually if I can get up out of bed, or actually I do most of my work in bed because of my back, but if I can get up and get my computer in front of me and start working, then I can keep working. But if I can't talk myself up out of bed, then it's a wrap. It's not gonna happen that day.
Well, honestly, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay, but it's also okay to get up from your bed and do what you've got to do. Yeah, so it's intertwined, but that balance is something that you and whoever is depressed will have to figure out to see that you can create a work-life balance. You just have to keep moving. Look for coping mechanisms. You don't have to go to drugs. No, don't do alcohol because these things. So, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience.
Okay. I'm sorry. I kind of forgot about them for a moment. I thought that it was just the two of us for a moment. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Talking to the audience. Yeah, you don't have to go do drugs, you don't have to go do alcohol or get coping mechanisms that when you're stuck in it, you can't get out. So there's this African phrase. I'm going to say it in pidgin, which is you need to use clear eyes, see road. I don't know if you get what that means. Try. You need to use clear eyes, see road. Okay, so it just simply means when you're walking on the road, you need to see clearly. You don't need to be influenced by anything to walk on the road. There might be cars coming, there might be whatever, but you just need to see clearly. So whatever coping mechanism you can come with to create a work-life balance, if it's having discussion, if it's sleeping when you have to sleep, if it's taking long walks, if it's doing exercise and all that, and so there's the balance. When you want to work, you work. When you want to sleep, you sleep. If you need to talk to someone, I mean, that's what you have to do. Just do what you have to do to get this balance. So I'll ask the last question. Can you share any advice or insights for others who may be facing depression and considering entrepreneurship as a means of overcoming it? What's your advice? Because a lot of people might want to just get themselves delve into working very, very, very hard to see that depression is on one part and working is in the other part. So anyway, I'm just saying entrepreneurship. So what advice or insights do you have for people facing depression and are considering using entrepreneurship as a means of overcoming it, just like you did in your own way too? So what's your advice?
Take baby steps and don't be impulsive.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm very impulsive. So just take your time, like you said. And going back to that work-life balance thing, now that I kind of understand where you were going more with that question, know that it's okay some days not to be okay. And also, you don't have to shower every day, right? Like if you're just going to be at home working. So showering takes a lot of energy, like a whole lot of energy. And so if you're too tired to take a shower, if it comes between showering and working, then work and shower later, right? I mean, that's one of my coping mechanisms is, if I'm just too tired to take a shower that day, then I'm going to go ahead and work and then I'll take a shower later. Now, I don't go like 8 days without taking a shower, but I'm just saying you have to choose.
You just say 8
choose
days.
your hard, right? You have to choose your hard. So, if it's too hard that day to cook, or, whatever, then just don't cook that day. You have to choose, pick and choose how you're going to make it through the day. And if that means, popping something in the microwave, nobody's going to die, right? Or skipping a shower one day, nobody's going to die from that either. Unless nobody's going to die. So, going back to entrepreneurship and depression, find something that you can give your passion for, but just make realistic expectations of yourself. One thing that I wish that I would have done before starting on my entrepreneurial journey is making a business plan, because that's something that I did not do and something that I'm struggling with right now for way too long. But, because a business plan would have given me like vision, and I would have known where I was going instead of kind of having it all in my head. And then, like when I got discouraged, I could look at it, right? And understand where I was going. So that is where I would say, to help, with doing, entrepreneurship and depression is, have a business plan, have a clear vision of what you're doing and where you want to go. Even if it's just, it doesn't even have to be like that organized, as long as you have a vision. And then, make sure that you go toward that vision. Just make, like we've been talking about, baby steps every day to go towards that vision. And that's the same thing that you're doing with your mental health, right? You're taking baby steps every day to get better.
Wow. Great. Honestly, this is awesome. I'm so grateful for your support and your time and your wise words and your insights and all you've said to our audience today. I'm sure a lot of people have learned so much, so much that it's okay not to be okay. You need to take baby steps to do stuff. You don't need to grab everything at once. No. That doesn't work. It will be too much for you when you're in depression. But these baby steps help. So if I didn't grab anything from today, like baby steps is ringing in my head. So let the audience hear. So before we wrap up, would you mind sharing your contact with the audience for a lot of people who would want to reach out? And I'm sure that there should be some nurse practitioners out there who are also trying to get certifications and all that. And in whatever walks of life and what's relating to this, they might just want to reach out to you. So can you share your contact information so people can reach out and get help too, if possible? Of course, it's possible.
Sure. My website is Educatrix. It's E as in Edward, D as in David, U as an umbrella, C as in cat, A as in apple, T as in Tom, R as in ready, I as in igloo, X as in X-ray, and then it's seminars, S as in Sam, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, I as in igloo, N as in Nancy, A as in apple, R as in ready, S as in Sam.com. And then you can find us on all platforms at Educatrix, A as in Apple, P as in Paul, S as in Sam, stands for Advanced Practice Seminars. Or you can email me, and that's, hello@educatrixseminars.com. So I hope to hear from you guys, and thank you so much for having me on today. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what do we say to you? Thank you so much for joining us on the Find Happiness podcast. And it was a true honor to have you, Marla Green, the founder of Educatrix Advanced Practice Seminars, where you just shared your remarkable story of what word do I want to use, of perseverance and resilience. A journey from not being a nurse practitioner to being disabled, and finally to successfully start an entrepreneurial journey where this is truly inspiring. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just overwhelmed with when I got to the part, like, being disabled. Like it puts me on it puts me on the spot. Honestly, I must say thank you. You're a very, 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 very strong woman. And this is what I do most times when I hear such things. I can't do so much, but I give it all. No real muscles, but you're a strong woman. Honestly. So thanks for being with us today. And to our viewers, we hope today's episode was really informative and enjoyable. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep finding happiness, and speak up whenever you're going through stuff. Don't keep quiet. Remember, it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to keep quiet. Speak up and remain happy. Thanks for joining us. Until next time. Bye.